This is the story of a theft that did not let the world's top investigation agencies breathe for 6 long years. Not one or two, but this theft was worth $3.5 billion. How a thief was drowned because of just one phone call. How he hid such a huge amount of money inside a small container of Cheetos. And the biggest thing, after the recovery of this stolen money, the real owner refused to even take it back. On 13 September 2019, a boy named Jim Zhong made an emergency call to 911. This was one phone call in his life that was about to throw him into big trouble. Jim Zhong lived in a small city named Athens in the U.S. state of Georgia. He had called the police to report a burglary at his house. When police officers arrived, he told them that 400,000 USD had been stolen from his home. Hearing such a huge amount, the police officer was a bit shocked. Jimmy had installed a very strong security system in his house, and he even had CCTV footage of the thief entering his home. The thief had covered his face in the footage. If we talk about Jimmy's lifestyle, he was a graduate of Georgia University, and among his friends, he was known as the party boy. He used to blow 42 million USD in just one party. If he went to any bar, he would buy free drinks for everyone there. Most of his friends were only with him because of his money and because they wanted to enjoy his luxurious lifestyle. Once, to watch his favorite football team's match, Jimmy gathered his friends and took all of them to Los Angeles in a private jet. The point is simple. At such a young age, Jimmy had so much money that he probably couldn't even handle it. When the police failed to figure out who committed the burglary at his house, he hired a private detective named Martinelli. Based on Jimmy's lifestyle and friend circle, it seemed clear that the theft was done by someone close to him. That's why Martinelli started studying Jimmy's case properly and began keeping an eye on his private lifestyle. She checked Jimmy's social media accounts and even his bank transaction history. Martinelli was a private detective, and that's why she was very worried. How could Jimmy spend so much money at such a young age? What exactly was Jimmy's source of income? Jimmy told everyone that he was a Bitcoin trader and also a crypto investor. And because Bitcoin prices had increased a lot in the past few years, everyone believed him. Martinelli said that the boy entering the house in the CCTV footage clearly knew Jimmy very well. He was definitely a close friend of Jimmy because he knew exactly where the money was kept, and he also knew the exact time when Jimmy was not at home. It wasn't the first time Athens police had a connection with Jimmy. A few years earlier, Jimmy had been caught in a cocaine possession case, and after that, he developed a very friendly relationship with police officers. The Athens police often checked his CCTV cameras to investigate other cases, but this time, because he had called 911, Jimmy himself had come under the police radar in a very serious way. Meanwhile, the regional cybercrime unit also learned about this case. They found out that 400,000 USD was stolen from Jimmy Zhong's house, and that Jimmy claimed to be a Bitcoin trader. But they began to doubt how he had such a huge amount of Bitcoin in the first place. Where did he really get that money? This regional cybercrime unit had been investigating the Silk Road crypto heist case for the past 7 years, but even after such deep investigation, they had not found a single lead. Silk Road was an online exchange where all kinds of illegal activities took place. From weapons to drugs, everything illegal was traded there, and all transactions were completely hidden. In 2012, this exchange was hacked, and someone stole a total of 51,680 bitcoins from all the traders. But because this was an illegal dark web website, nobody reported the theft to the police. The very next year, the owner of Silk Road was caught by the FBI, and along with that, the FBI shut down the website and seized all the bitcoins. They found a total of 170,000 bitcoins with the owner of Silk Road. The 51,680 bitcoins were still missing, which had originally been stolen by a hacker. The FBI believed that maybe the owner of Silk Road himself had transferred these 51,680 bitcoins into some other account and was lying to them. The transactions of different Bitcoin accounts are completely transparent, and anyone can see them. But the identity of the account owner is never revealed. That is why the regional cybercrime unit suspected that maybe Jimmy had some connection with the Bitcoins stolen from Silk Road's account. To confirm this, it was important to first find out what Jimmy's Bitcoin address was. So Athens police and the regional cybercrime unit made a plan to meet Jimmy together. Because the police were already investigating the case of the stolen 400,000 USD, this meeting seemed completely normal to Jimmy. 3 plainclothes officers entered Jimmy's house wearing body cams. They convinced Jimmy that they were there only to investigate the same 400,000 USD theft. While talking casually, they asked Jimmy what his source of income was. In response, Jimmy showed them his room, where 2 Bitcoin miners were kept. In the regional cybercrime unit's team, there was also a blockchain expert. He immediately realized that 2 or 4 Bitcoin mining machines could never generate the kind of wealth Jimmy was spending. During this casual conversation, one officer managed to access Jimmy's laptop and copied his Bitcoin address. Many of these Bitcoin addresses were connecting directly to the Silk Road crypto heist. The regional cybercrime unit had aimed their arrow exactly at the right target. There were no new transactions in the Bitcoin address, but its history clearly showed that years ago, several withdrawals had been made from Silk Road's accounts into this same address. Now the police had to find those 51,000 Bitcoins, which they believed were with Jimmy. So once again, they contacted Jimmy and asked him to meet. Jimmy agreed normally, just like before. But this time, the police and the cybercrime team came to Jimmy's house with a search warrant. When Jimmy found out, the color vanished from his face. The officers began searching his house thoroughly. They removed every tile to check whether Jimmy had built some secret storage box. Finally, they noticed a Cheetos container with a piece of towel placed on top. Seeing a towel on a Cheetos container looked suspicious, so they took it out. Under the towel, they found a small computer chip. This was a Bitcoin hardware wallet. In 2024, its value was estimated at 4 billion USD. Jimmy was now completely trapped. He had lost those 51,000 Bitcoins, and while trying to catch the thief of his 400,000 USD, he had brought the officers directly to his secret. Jimmy told the officers that to fulfill his drug addiction, he used to visit the Silk Road Exchange and buy drugs there. In 2012, one day while he was withdrawing his Bitcoins on the site, he noticed a loophole in the website. Jimmy had good knowledge of blockchain, and he used that loophole to withdraw many traders' Bitcoins into his own account. When he had withdrawn 51,680 Bitcoins, the owner of Silk Road found out. He couldn't complain to the police since the website itself was illegal, so he privately messaged Jimmy and asked him what loophole he had found. Jimmy explained the loophole to him, and in exchange, the stolen Bitcoins were forgiven by the Silk Road owner. He allowed Jimmy to keep them. The years of effort by Athens police, the FBI, and the regional cybercrime unit finally paid off. The case was now solved, and in 2023, Jimmy was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in a wire fraud case. This is considered the biggest Bitcoin heist in U.S. history. If Jimmy had not called 911 that day, he might still be roaming freely with his Bitcoins. But because of that one phone call, Jimmy fell from the sky directly to the ground in an instant. The FBI issued a notice to find the real owners of the seized 51,000 Bitcoins, telling everyone who had suffered losses in the 2012 Silk Road crypto incident to come forward and claim their Bitcoins. But shockingly, not a single person came forward. They all left their money behind, because anyone who stood up to claim it would automatically reveal that they were involved in some criminal activity on Silk Road in 2012. If you liked this video, then like the video, and thank you so much for all your lovely comments.